Mmm. 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 Cheerios. Delicious. Well, not exactly Cheerios actually. They're Harvest Mom. Harvest Mom, something like that. They're Aldi's own brand of cereal, and really nice, yummy. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Yeah, I'm having a late breakfast myself. Having my little O's. Yum, yeah. Okay. Nice and so. Yes, Red Pips are here, enjoying my breakfast, and at lunchtime. I'll ask you a question. What do you have for breakfast this morning? What are you eating now? What you usually get, a packet of crisps or something. Maybe you might be having a sandwich. Packet of crisps, and it's it says on there cheese and onion flavour, and you have yourself your crisps up thinking, oh, nice cheese and onions, scrummy, yummy, and it's like, oh, extra salt and vinegar, yuck. Well, you might be saying, oh, it's hot vinegar, yeah, but the thing is, the packet said cheese and onion. Or you might be on a sandwich and it says bacon, lettuce or tomato, and you open it up and there's no tomato in it. You paid the same price, there's no tomato or no bacon. Or maybe it's just bread and butter. What would you do? You'd take it back to the shop, wouldn't you? You'd take it back and complain. You'd take it back, excuse me, this is wrong. You've missold me. It says on here, BLT. It says on here, Cheerios. Well, it should be Rice Krispies. Or Aldi's, whatever it is. And it's not what's in there. You take it back and complain. Because it's cost you money. It's costing you something. But, if you didn't think it cost you anything, would you complain? Say it was your wife or husband or your brother, sister, your neighbour who bought something, had something really big or whatever, spent money out, spent time doing something, and then they found out it wasn't what was said on the tin. Would you say to them, I think you should be quiet? Would you say you shouldn't say anything? If it was your money, you would. It was your fault. You know, you was losing out on something. I'm sure you would. So why would you tell other people not to complain or take a stance whenever truth is being violated, being replaced by a lie? And I did a video just before Easter concerning a publication I got from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society on would you like to know the truth? Would you like to know the truth? And just had a few words came out of me when I was reading that, where they were saying something and using the words of Jesus to support what they were saying. Of course, I know what their doctrine on this particular issue is, and what Jesus actually said was different, and indeed the context of what Jesus was talking about goes against Watchtower theology. And I actually put this, well, I didn't actually tell in so much detail, to the witnesses who actually gave me the leaflet in the first place, and said, would you go away and find an answer and then come back as to why it would actually misquote what Jesus said. Say that Jesus was saying one thing when he wasn't. He was actually saying something a bit more, well, actually quite a lot more. and you know, wondering why it would misquote him that way. And they never came back. Witnesses often don't. Witnesses prior to this actually literally ran away from my door when I asked them to check something. The older guy who was with the couple, it was him and a younger woman who was middle-aged herself. He gone boom, up the street, didn't want to discuss anything with me at all, and the woman was walking away, turning at me and screaming at me, "I've studied this, I know it's true." And I was saying, you know, well, can you just go back in your Bible and see if this particular phrase, there was a term firstborn, see if it actually means the first one born all the time. See if it's always used in there, because it's talking about the Colossians bit about Jesus being firstborn, and because they're having preeminence, and of course they say he was the first one created and blah blah blah. Anyway, I was saying, is the Bible consistent to say what you're saying, or can the word firstborn mean someone who is preeminent in this? I've studied this. No, and she was like going like every 5 or 10 spaces, storming off, and then turned around and screaming back at me, but because when faced with the truth, or faced with a question of what she thought was true, her response is probably quite a natural human reaction. It's defence, and an aggressive defence as well. But anyway, I asked this question on this video as to why the Watchtower would misquote the words of Jesus, why what they were saying was different from what Jesus was saying, even though they quoted some of what Jesus said in this verse. These witnesses never came back, and I didn't get any responses on the Facebook, on the YouTube channel. So I put on my Facebook page, I said, you know, I did this video, I'm just putting out there onto all my Facebook contacts if anyone else might know why the Watchtower might do this. And I actually got a response from a Jehovah's Witness, or someone I'm assuming is still an active Jehovah's Witness. He didn't respond to my inquiry. Someone I know, used to work with, and he basically told me I'm making too much of a big issue out of it. You know, it's, you know, my neighbour comes round, I went to Tesco and bought this, and it says on the tin, sticks everything. And I tried to stick the sole of my foot, my shoe back on, and it came off 10 seconds later. You know, didn't stick at all. In fact, it slid off like treading on a banana skin. You know. So I was making too much of a big issue of this, and yet, and that view was supported by someone else who actually I do know is very critical of Christianity and stuff. And I thought to myself, you know, really, at what price truth? You know, does you know, do these people, you know, actually really care about truth anymore? Especially the witnesses who claim to be in the truth. That's one of their often phrases. They say, "How long have you been in the truth?" Being part of the society, how long have you been in the truth? And yet they have this theocratic warfare where if you're not considered worthy to know the truth, to receive the truth, then it's okay to be lied to. You know, that they can lie to you. If you ask them a question and they're saying, well, you're not really serious about this, so I'm going to tell you any old codswallop to get me out of the situation and talking to you, then I'm going to just lie. Just deny everything, you know. This theocratic warfare, you know, read your Aid to Bible Understanding, right, if you can get hold of one, because I think that it's been discontinued now since Ray France got disfellowshipped. There's been a lot of issues about it that have been rewritten from what I know. But does anyone really care about truth? I was listening to James White, Dr. James White, the other day. He was saying about the Muslim apologists he speaks to. You know, he says he can speak to a really hardline atheist, and sometimes, you know, just, you know, half the time, these atheists, even though they disagree, they'll still actually listen to what you're saying, And yet he speaks to a lot more Muslims, a lot more Roman Catholics and such, but Muslims especially. And he says that they're not prepared to listen. They're not prepared to at least take on board, you know, the fact that truth is important. Truth is important because truth is important even to an atheist. You know, if someone who's got a scientific mind or whatever, because that's what gives them the alternative. It's what they perceive to be facts, and truth is important. And I just wonder, you know, and if people come up and say, you know, you're making too much, you should forget about it. You're making too much big deal. Well, you know, okay, if I'm wrong, then don't I need to know the truth to be able to get the truth? And if I'm right, does it mean that it's okay to have people who are very sincere, very hard-working, very nice people, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, like most of them are, trying to serve Jehovah as best they can, led up a garden path to nowhere? You know, I've wasted years of my life reading and believing in things that weren't true, other people's interpretations of the Bible that weren't true, philosophical and spiritual beliefs that were not true or were downright lies, and trying to earn my acceptance with God, only to find that Jesus Christ had truly set me free, because he was the only one who did have the authority to do so, because he was God himself. And to find that Ephesians 2 is correct, that it is by grace that you are saved through faith, not of works, lest any man should boast. And yeah, these Jehovah's Witnesses, they're often boasting. We're in the truth, you're not. The Mormons knock on your door. We are the only true church on the face of the earth, which means the group you're part of isn't. The hardline Roman Catholics who say, you know, that it's only the Church of Rome which is the proper church, and people who aren't Roman Catholics are not in proper churches. I know not all Roman Catholics hold to that, but there's a lot of them who are. And if someone's going to come and knock on my door and give me something that isn't true, then don't I have the right to respond? Don't I have the right to go back into the shop where I got it from and say, excuse me, this doesn't do what it says on the tin? This isn't the flavour that's on this packet? I was hoping to have a nice glass of milk, and it came out as cream cheese? And if it's going to be something that's going to affect my life, or affect what I believe to be eternal salvation, eternity, shouldn't I be having the right to actually say, when someone approaches me, no, this is wrong, this is a lie, this isn't true? And then you tell me, if I say that, I'm making a big deal out of it. Well, fine. Come and say it to my face and then run away, like you normally do, when I actually present an argument against what you're saying, in defence of the truth. But just be aware of that, you know. If you claim to be a person of truth, then doesn't that mean you've got to look at yourself in the mirror, warts and all? It's scary, I know. I look at myself in the mirror all the time. You might not believe it. Yeah, I need to shave and stuff at times, but it's something you've got to do. And if you're going to promote yourself as a person of truth, I think you've really got to be prepared to stand up for the truth yourself. And otherwise, you don't value truth, do you? Think about it.